Hello chess world, my name is Milos and I'm International Master of Chess. Welcome to my series on the greatest games in chess history. Today we will follow the game between Edward Lasker and Sir Thomas George. This is a really interesting game with a beautiful sacrifice, and the whole foundation of this attack is king hunt. So we will be studying a king hunt in this game, and let's start right away. Edward Lasker was white, and Edward Lasker is not a world champion, Emanuel Lasker. He's not even his relative, but they both used to live in New York in early 20s on 20th century. The game started with the move d4 and the black played f5. f5 is a Dutch defense, although kids like to call this very often a Sicilian defense on a d4. The white choose e4. This move is not a move that you will see that often. It's a gambit move and it really sacrifices the pawn, but it's a correct gambit and you will not lose your pawn. Queen h5 of course doesn't work right away because g6 it really doesn't allow white to do anything else. He can try to create a double attack on e5 and e4, but that double attack is very easy to stop with a move knight f6. So let's rewind back. Instead of that, white chooses the better choice. He plays the move knight c3 and attacks the pawn on e4. The black defends on f6. If the black plays d5 and try to protect the pawn with a pawn, we will not capture knight e5, but that would be our idea on the second move after queen h5 check and double attack. If black doesn't play g6, you could capture knight e5. If the black plays g6, of course you're gonna capture queen d5 over a queen trade, and after the queen trades and knight d5, this active knight would be threatening knight c7 fork. At the same time, the pawn on e4 is very weak and you have a very good chances to win that pawn. Therefore, the game continued with the move knight f6. After knight f6, white tried to remove the guard by playing bishop g5. So the threat is very simple. I'm trying to capture the knight on f6, and when the knight is gone, we're going to capture on e4. Now, if the black plays d5, similar situation happened like in the first combination. The bishop removes the guard. Doesn't matter which pawn captures. The queen gets to h5, checks the king, and then captures the pawn on a d5. Of course, not that. Mouse slip. Captures the queen d5. And again, after queen d5, knight d5, knight will be threatening a fork in a one move, and the pawn on e4 will still be weak. Instead of that, black decided to play e6, and this actually helped white gain a pawn back because of the pin. The knight is pretty much frozen, so the white could capture the pawn without being worried that this knight will recapture. Can knight recapture? Yes, he can, but then queen is gone in a one move. So what happened in the game here, black played bishop e7, blocked the pin, and pretty much forced the white into the trading. In this situation, black has two options: to capture with a bishop, that happened in the game, and capture with a pawn. That would be a bad choice because it allows white that after queen h5 check and the king moves to f8, has a very strong attack and very strong initiative. Instead of that, black captured bishop f6, that is a better choice, and the game continued with knight f3, castling, and bishop d3. I like a bishop d3 very much because this bishop move is attacking towards the h7. Now, the white is preparing some type of discover attacks, and you'll see very soon this will be main attacking idea. Black had a lot of options here, including d5, including knight c6, but he chose to go for fianchetto, and he played b6, preparing to move the bishop on b7 and get the bishop on this long diagonal and fianchetto. Usually in this position, the players with the white pieces will play queen e2 and prepare maybe long side castling, and they will do a short castling immediately. But interesting in this game, white played knight e5. I think knight e5 is a risky move, and probably it's not the most accurate move in this position because Black simply can capture maybe bishop e5 and after d5 just play h6, although his white squares would be weak. But definitely bishop b7 helped white to achieve what he wants. So now the queen is in attack. There is a direct threat. So where is the direct threat? Let's say the black plays knight c6 or a d5. Let's try knight c6. Then after knight c6, the white can simply take knight f6 check, and if the queen or a pawn captures, there is a one move checkmate, and if the rook captures, the game would be prolonged. But after this queen h8 and king e7, queen g7, it would be clear cut win for a white. So I don't think that there is really need to access this position further than that. Instead of that, black played the move queen e7. Then on a first look, that move prevents a checkmate, and it looks like a good choice because if you go knight f6, now the pawn will capture and the queen h7 is prevented by queen on e7. That was the idea behind the move queen e7. Well, if the black didn't play queen e7, we wouldn't have this original combination and this beautiful attack. So we should be happy really that black played here queen e7. So what is the move? The natural move would be knight f6, but that's not the move that was played in the game. The move in the game, believe it or not, is queen h7. Queen for a pawn. Well, there behind this there is a clear idea of preparing this cover double check. So king must capture. And then here it comes, discover double check. Knight f6. So the king is in double check. The point of combination is really on the next move. If the king could go back into the safety, white couldn't win this game. But you can probably see what's going to happen if the king goes backward. This is fantastic checkmating pattern. You have two knights pretty much trapping and checkmating the king. So what happens if the king doesn't want to cooperate and he doesn't want to go backward? That's actually what happened in the game. King played on h6. Just thing that I would like you to note is that when you sacrifice something, you need to continue with attack, especially if you sacrifice a queen or a rook. Those are your major pieces. If you stop now attacking and try to play some quiet moves, you're probably going to lose the game. So keep the action going, keep initiative, keep the attack, get that king out. So knight g4, check. King has only one place available. That's king g5. And what now? Well, when you're attacking, any piece that can help your attack is welcome, more than welcome. So h4 check, king f4. What white should play now? Well, you're guessing right. We should continue attacking with any piece we can. We cannot give this king to take a breath. Like we cannot give him to get a chance to be defended. Lasker knows that and he plays g3. This is pretty much epic game, epic attack. The king is walking all the way from h8 to h7, h6, g5, f4, f3. Is this enough? Nope, it's not enough for white pieces. Bishop e2, attacking the king, forcing him to g2. So let's just review the king moves. The king was on h8, then he moved to h7, then to h6, then it was g5, then f4, then f3, then g2. Will he go further? Yes, of course. Rook h2. The rook is protected by a knight, and this king doesn't have no options than to move to g1. Completely surrounded by white pieces. Extra queen for black, never got a chance to get involved in any kind of action. Never even got the move to make. So this is a great example. Very often I ask my students, can you checkmate king with a king? Well, you can't literally checkmate a king with a king, but you can checkmate a king by making a move with a king. And this game is a great example for that. The game was finished with a castling move, and the rook was checkmating the king. Clearly, the white has other option here. He could move king d2 and finish with a checkmate also.